Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Heather. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids, elementary, middle, and high school age. Today I'm going to be sharing my 2024 goals with you, so let's get started. Okay guys, it is time for me to share my 2024 goals. I'm really excited to share them with you. I have already shared these in my membership community. If you are looking for more help and encouragement around home and homeschool and goals, I would love for you to come check us out. I had some struggles this year with coming up with wording for my goals. And I talked about this a little bit in my last video, the goal prep video from last week, about how I didn't really like the wording all that much, and it was a bit of a struggle for me. And I talked about this in my membership community at length. But I realized that a lot of the goals that I have for 2024 are a continuation of goals that I set in 2023. And I've talked about this a lot in my goal planning towards the end of 2023 about how I've accomplished a lot of my goals from 2023, but all of my goals almost had a second part to it. And that second part was more recreation, was more fun, and slowing down and simplifying and not having to manage so many things. And so it took me a little while to understand that even though my goal wording may not sound so special and fancy, some people that share their goals, they have really great goals. And in fact, last year I felt really good about my goal wording. So for instance, last year, create and implement a clear home management system that allows me time to pursue my passions. Well, that sounds lovely. And, that is not what my goal is this year, and that's okay. So I'm going to go through and I will share my goals and a little brief why behind these and kind of what they mean, and then how I use these as I'm continuing with my goal setting. Now, as I'm recording this, it's before Christmas. Originally, my plan was to have my Q1 action plans done before Christmas as well so that I could share them the last week of December after this goals video goes live. I wanted to share my Q1 action plans. I don't know if that's going to happen. And I'm not at a point yet where I feel like I can sit down and write out my Q1 action plans. Part of the reason is because this is the first year that I've separated my business and personal goals and haven't started on my business goals. And I know a lot of that is going to impact my personal goals as far as how much time I have to give to both things. Plus, I'm just kind of in the holiday spirit at the moment and want to spend my time with my kids, baking, going and doing fun activities, and just watching Christmas movies and hanging out and stuff. I have not taken as much time to sit down and really flesh out some of my Q1 action plans, and that's totally okay. I've mentioned this in a few different places now. I've been sharing my goals online since 2006. I started sharing my goals way back when in my old website. And then in 2011 or 2012, I started sharing goals on Townsend House, which is my current website. But I've always done my goals late. I've always taken that week before Christmas and New Year's. That has primarily been when I've done prep work in my Powersheets. It's primarily when I write out action plans, do all of the setup for the new year. All of my calendars, all of that type of stuff has always been in that week between Christmas and New Year's. And then it bleeds over into the first week of the year, and I don't really end up starting my goals until the second week in January. And that's just been what works for me. I'm trying to do it a little bit earlier this year. I did it early last year and the year prior, and it's hard to do because there's a lot of other stuff going on that's vying for my attention. Anyways, I'm not sure you guys really care about that, but I wanted to share some of my thinking, especially if you are not done with your prep work. That's totally okay. I always found it really interesting that most goal planning systems try and do prep work and goal setting the first week in December. That seems so early to me. And I know you can't really do it like the second or third week in December because then people are thinking about Christmas and other holidays. And so, yeah, it seems early, but I have my goals, and so I feel really good about that. That is where we're going to start. So my first goal is create a rhythm of renewal. And that goal is really the second half of some of my goals about pursuing my passions from 2023. It's taking a step back and making sure that I'm doing the most important thing, that I'm not just constantly maintaining schedules and things and all of this kind of stuff. So I want to take the time to really drill down on the rhythms that renew me. And so that is my first goal. My next goal is embrace legacy. And I've talked about legacy, I think, for the past 3 years, and I haven't made a ton of progress on it. And it's two-sided. Legacy, for part of it, is memory keeping. It's going through pictures. It's, we have so many digital pictures and I have not taken care of them well. Part of that is because I have lost years worth of pictures from when Emma and Jack were little, due to kind of being between that when when the cloud and external hard drives and those types of things were really starting to come on the market. Prior to that, we just had the computer or memory cards, and so I've lost a lot of pictures due to computers crashing or things happening that way. I had put a ton of pictures on my old iPod from Apple, expecting that that would be a way to preserve them, but those old iPods that were like 80 gigs of memory for just music or images or video, they convert the pictures into teeny tiny little pictures, and I can't get them off of the iPod anymore. The iPod still charges. I can still look at those pictures, but they are on like a little 2x2 screen and I cannot print them. And so it is what it is. I had to kind of accept that, but it was really hard for me to focus on legacy with memory keeping when I know there are big chunks of my kids' childhood that are just missing. And it's really sad, and you just kind of have to move on. I have to remember that we have so many images now. Even if I can just find a few images, either from friends or family from those years, that's all that a lot of people ever had. It's only been in the past 20 years that there's so much digital imagery. So remembering that. So that's one side of the embrace legacy coin. The other side is another thing that I've talked about a lot, and that is all about estate planning and wills and life insurance and all of the hard things that take such an emotional toll on me. It is very challenging for me to work through these things. And I know that some of these things, they just need to be done. I have not been in a good headspace to do those things in the past couple of years. I've wanted to do those things, but it's very emotional to work on those things, to think about, well, what's going to happen if you die and you leave your kids? And I think that part of the why it's a little bit easier now is because my kids are older. And so that helps alleviate some of the stress. I'm not thinking about babies, but it is still a struggle for me. So those are two sides of the coin. The memory keeping stuff, I want to get into a good rhythm for memory keeping. I want to go through all of the images and pictures that I have on external hard drives now, print pictures, do some scrapbooks, go through all of the bins of memory stuff. I have tons of bins in our basement. Same thing with homeschool related things. I have a bin for every single year of homeschooling. We've been homeschooling. This is our 13th year. I have that many large bins in the basement with artwork and math workbooks and stories that the kids have written and so many things. Partly I keep all of that stuff because you just never know what laws will change with regards to homeschooling, and so I wanted to have all of that information available. But also at this point, Emma is in her 3rd year of high school. I do not need to keep all of the preschool, K, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. I don't need all of that stuff. I need to go through and just choose the most important things. So that's two sides of the embrace legacy coin that I need to work on for this year. It's very important to me. Now, the next 4 goals are the ones where the wording was really bothering me, and I've come to accept it. And one of my members in my membership community talked about how There are different types of goals as you're going into 2024. You need to kind of look at your 2023 goals, and are they goals that need to continue into the new year? That is okay. And I knew that my goals had to continue into the new year because, like I said, I had that second half of a lot of my goals. And so but I just didn't like the wording. But now I'm kind of over it and I'm moving ahead with the goals that I've written out. So the first one is continue to cultivate a life-giving home. And that is going to be surrounding my home management system that I created this year. I will leave a link for that in the description box. I went through all of the different things that I've done. There are definitely some things that I want to improve on, one of which is making sure that I am diligent about getting the kids' chore calendar done seasonally so that they have their jobs for the quarter and they know what they need to do without having to ask me. My kids are amazing. They do whatever I ask them. Not always. There's always sometimes when people don't want to do things, but for the most part, if I say, can you do this? They immediately go and do it. So that is wonderful for me, but I don't want to have to constantly ask them to do things. We had gotten to a point in the summer where they were really diligent about making sure that they got their jobs done. And then once September hit, we were so busy with cross country and homeschool and other activities that all of that kind of stuff went out the window, and we were just trying to manage the basics throughout the weeks. And a lot of that was me just picking up the slack so that my older kids could get their schoolwork done. High school level courses are hard and it takes a lot of time, and I wanted to give them space to do that because that really is their job. The most important thing, in my opinion, for them to be working on right now is their education. So I let a lot of the normal jobs slide. I would just vacuum when I had time. The kids still do their laundry and all of that stuff and take care of their rooms and everything like that. But it was just like the extra jobs that I had given to them that I just did because it was easier for me to do that. So if I can put in the time ahead of time, then it is good. But also the other part of that cultivate a life-giving home was for me to take time to pursue my passions and to do some of the things that I love doing. And some of those rhythms are important, and just figuring out how to manage those is going to be important for me. My next goal is continue to lean into and pursue passions, which again is continuation, kind of similar to my life-giving home. It is making sure that I am having the routines as efficient as possible and not wasting time. I don't want every moment of my day scheduled. Nobody does, but I want to make sure that I'm not taking too long to do things because I do have the time. So I don't need to have too much urgency in particular areas. But when I do that, I miss out on some of the fun things. And then I also want to make sure that I am demonstrating to my kids that I'm pursuing my passions and giving them space to pursue their own passions. So this goal is part of my homeschooling goal for 2024. I always have a homeschooling goal, education goal for my kids and myself. I kind of connect the two. A lot of it is kid related, a lot of it is actual homeschool, but then a lot of it is mentoring my kids as well and demonstrating the things that I am telling them to do in my own life. So that is the next goal. My fifth goal is continue to grow my faith, and I struggled a little bit with this in 2023. I didn't struggle with it, but I had tried to set up a lot of different resources to use in 2023. It was too many resources, and so I didn't have the time I needed to dedicate to those resources in this when I typically do my devotions and things like that. So I scheduled probably an hour to an hour and a half of Bible study in a day, but I could not get that done before my kids woke up, and that's typically when I do my Bible study. So I had to kind of take a step back and reevaluate what I was doing. And so continuing to grow my faith is one. I have a bunch of ideas. I have some tried and true things that I stopped doing in 2023 that I've reincorporated back into my daily morning routine. And so I'm very pleased with that goal. I'm excited about what 2024 is going to bring. And then the last goal that I have, so I only have 6 goals this year, is to continue to nurture my finances. And again, this past year, I worked a lot on financial management and trying to work on a bunch of different ways to figure out exactly how much money we're spending in particular categories. I did a ton of spend tracking this year, which is new, not really new. I've always tracked my spending, but this was on a purchase by purchase basis and breaking things, even so far as separating out groceries and household items and home goods from one particular Target purchase. So really drilling down on the specific categories that we spend in, how much we're spending. Everything is so much more expensive. I think that we are spending, I don't even want to say how much more we're spending on food and gas and utilities than we were 3 years ago. It is absolutely insane how much more we are spending. And even though we have reduced our usage, we have reduced our allotment of what I'm purchasing, it's still more money. It's still more money. And so it is what it is. I can't really change that. But just to continue to focus on spending less, I would love to do a no spend year. I don't really know how to manage that. I talked about that a little bit last year as well, but I didn't figure out a good way to do that because I don't really buy a lot of extra things. I feel like I'm pretty good about my spending. I'm not purchasing tons of things. The places that I spend a lot of money are on homeschool curriculum for the kids and then food, but I do a lot of from scratch cooking and stuff, so it's not like I'm buying a bunch of extra snacks and things. We don't go out to eat all the time. I think we go out maybe a few times a year, usually surrounding birthdays or holidays, and so we'll see. We'll see what comes out of nurturing our finances. But there are some specific things that I would like to get done in 2024 with relation to finances. So after I come up with the wording for my goals, the next step that I do is I go through and I say, why is this goal important? And then what does this goal look like in practice? So that is kind of similar to the action plans that Cultivate What Matters has. They have these action plans, and I did fill them out for my goals. This is a blank page. So it says, write your yearly goal. Why are you motivated to achieve it? What I can do, the area that it falls under if you're using the CLE categories. What does success look like? What might get in the way? And how will you have fun with this goal along the way? And then this goal includes habits, finish lines, a big dream. This is the only page that I've filled out for my action plans so far. This page, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to work it because, like I said, I don't know what season 2, 3, or 4 are going to bring. I don't know what my life circumstances will be, and I can kind of plan things out. I know that there are certain things that happen in the summers and in the winter and stuff like that, but I don't really plan too far in advance. I'm really all about the 90-day goals, the 12-week year. I don't know if I have that book right down here. If you've not read the 12-week year, I recommend it. It is so helpful in formulating 90-day goals, and that's kind of what I do. So I do like to go through and I write all of my goals up on these pages, and I give them a color, and I write which category I think they would be in. Not necessarily the CLE categories. I can kind of make my own categories. Some of them line up, some of them do not. And then I go and I say, why is this goal important? So I write out why the goal is important to me, similar to the why are you motivated to achieve it? But I'm saying, why is this important to me? Why do I want to have this goal? And then what does it look like? And I just list some things. A lot of them are going to be from my goal ideas list, or even back at the beginning of the book when I am writing out just all of the different brain dump lists. And I will go back to these lists throughout the year, especially if I'm doing well in my goals and accomplishing all of the things that I set out to do each month. And I'm thinking, oh, well, is there something else? Because maybe there is something on here that wasn't super important at the beginning of the year, and it was something that I could get to it or I might not get to it, but now I have extra time. And so I will go back and start working on some of these things. Some of the things, like under my rhythms and systems brain dump category, I wrote PM routine. And then if you watched my video a couple of weeks ago, I talked about how I already have an evening routine. It's not super detailed and it doesn't have a lot of steps, and that's okay because my morning routine is full and it's long. So, you know, you just have to kind of figure out what is best for you. So those are my 2024 goals. Again, I do not have my Q1 action plans done. Those goal action plans that I have written out in the Powersheets are more yearly broad action plans. And so my next step, which will hopefully come at some point soon, is to write out my Q1 action plans. And to do that, I use this wildcard page from Cultivate What Matters. It is still on their website. They took away the free goal school and they now have free resources on the website itself. And this is one of the wildcard pages. It is a goal action plan and it has space for a mini goal, the steps, when you want to do it, mini goal, steps, when you want to do it, mini goal, steps, when you want to do it. There is a page 2 of this that I do not use, and I just print out a bunch. I actually took it and made a PDF with 2 on landscape, 2 of these on landscape, and then I printed out and just cut it in half with my paper cutter so that I have just, it uses less paper, obviously. And this is what I use to set up my goal action plans. And then from these action plans, I will have projects on here, and those projects will be here. I will put project instead of goal and then break down that particular project for my tending list for the month. Now, there are some other pages that I did not even talk about in my goal prep series, things like the vision board. The vision board we do as a family. We do individual vision boards as a first week in January activity. My kids and I all work on them together. It's a lot of fun. I don't do it ahead of time. Mine is full of words and not pictures. So, and the kids have a lot of words on theirs as well. And that kind of helps me focus on what their passion projects are for the coming year or things that they want to learn about. Another thing that I have not done that I probably will do as I'm setting up January is this routines reset, as well as the weekly rhythm ideas for the season, because I've talked a lot in my membership community about redoing my time blocks, and so I need to sit down and work through this. I did my time inventory in October, and so I'm going to go back and look through that and see how long things were taking and see if I can group specific things into specific time blocks. If you saw my collaboration video with a paper and pen girl, I talked all about single tasking versus multitasking and how to use time blocks to kind of focus on particular areas of your life without being stressed about not doing all of the things at once. So I will leave a link for that in the description box as well, because I think that's very applicable to this weekly rhythm ideas. You want to have a realistic ideal weekly rhythm. And I think that that's where a lot of people miss the boat when they're creating a weekly rhythm. They're either not giving themselves enough margin or transition time around the different time blocks. They're underestimating how long things will take, or they're overestimating how long things will take. And so when you do a time inventory ahead of time, that gives you a real understanding of where you actually are spending your time, not where you think you're spending your time. So, if you're interested in that, you can come over to my membership community. I've walked through time inventory a couple of times this past year with my members, and I think it's very, very helpful. So those are my 2024 goals. Again, I don't have my Q1 action plans done yet. Hopefully soon. But I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope that you enjoy hearing about my goals because I really do enjoy sharing them, and I find that it helps keep me accountable to share them online, which is why I've been sharing my goals for so many years at this point. Because when I am writing like an update each month, I am more likely to continue working on them each month and making progress. So if you have questions about anything that I talked about today, please don't hesitate to ask me in the comments, or you can email me. My contact form is always in the description box. Again, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.